why is there a stereotype of men that we have to be very strong physically, but very weak emotionally?
Yes. I think this has started from our culture from birth. Watching Disney movies, looking at all these hyper masculine princes that save the damsel in distress, and there's no sign of even showing emotionality in the male, and I think that's what creates this process. And this culture itself doesn't even support men having emotions or supporting emotional intelligence. And there was this book I read about, it was called The Art of Seduction, and they did research on, they asked women which males they found most attractive. The hypermasculine males were not perceived as attractive, nor were the opposite, undermasculine. It was a balance of both emotion and the masculinity. So yeah, we have to create this change from within. I know the East has it down. Men, even in so my family heritage is from Arabia, and the stories of very hyper masculine men even portrayed them crying tears in front of people out of emotion when they were sad. Or so it's only here I found that there's an issue. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I got some cousins over that just came over from Pakistan recently, and we were having a discussion about just ideal husband for them. They're both girls, so they were telling me that I would never want a man who cries. And I asked them why. They're like, no, it's just a weak trait. So, yeah, it's a weak trait of a man who cries, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And then they tell me that their father cries as well. And I said, okay, what's so weak about that? They're like, no, a man should never cry. So, there's just these stigmas and these gender stereotypes, which, they're ridiculous.
Yeah. And how do, if you have a man that never cries, like I'm sure there's going to be one day where she's going to cry and she's going to need that nurturing support. If he can't cry, how is he going to support you when you cry, right? Yeah. We have to create that identity between the two sexes where we understand them emotionally for us to really support them emotionally. You can't get emotional support if one is always what's considered stereotypically strong for a man, never cries, never is emotional. But then when you're emotional, how is he supposed to support you if you don't allow him to inhibit the same traits?
A lot of the sort of insecurities about having femininity as a man, not completely effeminate, like very effeminate, I just meant like things that society considers more feminine. A lot of men, they don't want to do certain things that are kind of life skills, like learning how to cook and clean and do their own laundry and things like that, because they think of it as feminine. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that over generations, societies have kind of developed females as a lesser human, and I think we're starting to learn now, think about it more as trying to analyze, why we believe and what we think and all that. A lot of our fears about, ourselves being too feminine or, not masculine enough, I think come from the fact of how we see women. And I think that a lot of that has to be kind of taken into account, how we respect women, how we see women, them as also being strong individuals, intelligent. And I think that being able to respect women and not see them as being weak, we'd be able to realize that we're a lot like them. We're all human, and there's fewer differences than we really, that are real. A lot of the differences we create in our own head.
Yeah, society has put us in this box of how we're supposed to feel, think, all that other good shit is ridiculous. Because it's like they're trying to turn us into robots, and robots, unless it for some miraculous reason gets a soul, robots can't feel shit. They can't feel poke to the knee. They can't feel a sting in the heart. They can't feel sadness or anger, and that's what society is trying to do. It's been trying to do that since forever. By now, society should know better. That's not the case. Especially when we're trying to do the whole relationship bit. It's like somebody was saying that that women want a balance of, Hercules and you know, someone who's, you know, caring and sensitive and is not afraid to cry in front of them.
And it's so hard to find that example, right? I can see that you're struggling to find that example of someone who's compassionate and strong at the same time as a man, because we don't really have a lot of role models that are that balanced.
Yeah,
you know?
it's easy to say Hercules.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck Hercules is. Whether we're talking about the Disney animated movie or the series or just the whole lore in general, we know who Hercules is. But as far as someone who is a shining example of someone who has a heart and is not afraid to show it, it is very few and far between. I mean, I remember one instance when I was with my my girlfriend at the time. We were hanging out at I want to say Walgreens, and I said something stupid, and she got really pissed, and I mean,
we all get in that boat, my brother.
yeah, and you know, she was. I thought it was being funny, but I find out shortly thereafter. I was like, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that, and I was apologizing to her until I was essentially blue in the face, and then I started to cry a little bit because I was like, "Oh damn, I really pissed her off." I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I wasn't afraid to cry in front of her at all." And normally, like my younger self, be like, "Why are you crying in front of her, you little bitch?" No. You know, but I look at my younger self like, just keep growing. That's all I have to say. And I've grown to that point where it's like, if I have to cry in front of someone, probably, you know. But yeah, the way that we're put in this box is ridiculous. If more men in this world were you know, break out of that box and be more human instead of a fucking robot,